Welcome back to These Are the Days podcast. We're so glad that you guys are here listening to us. Thank you so much for those of you who have been loyal listeners for the past, how many years have we been doing this now?
Oh boy, 5 years, yeah.
Through the name change and everything. If you guys have been a loyal listener, would you just take a second to leave us a quick review? We haven't asked this in a very long time, but we would just so appreciate it if you guys would take a minute to follow our podcast on YouTube if you're just a loyal podcast listener. And then if you're a loyal podcast listener, just leave us a quick review. It would be so appreciated. And this week, if you share the episode and you tag Jeremy Roloff and Beating 50%, we will buy a 5 of you coffee. So there you have it.
Not you, because you're off social media.
Not me, because I'm on a social media break.
And it helps the show a lot when you share it or helps really the message. Like, we care about what we're talking about, and the more people that hear it, we believe, the better. So it's a, it's a circle situation. So thank you very much.
Yeah. So how you doing, babe?
We switched sides to mix it up a little bit.
We switched sides. We didn't acknowledge that. Sorry.
And Audrey's been complaining about her setup here. And I'm like, well, I'm going to give it a try just because the leg of the desk here. This is my table build, for those that don't know. And I love this table, but it might not be fitting for the podcast on a comfort level.
I don't love it. I want to sit like comfortably on a couch.
So I might be
coffee table in between. I feel like this feels just like too formal and astute with us here on this desk.
I love it.
Table.
But we might be due for a little bit
level
of
up. And we want to be able to have guests on and have like a more built out space to where, we can have other people sitting in frame with us and it's not cramped into this tiny corner of our shop. Anyways, okay, you ready for Q?
I like it.
Connect card?
Let us know. Should we change it up, or what do you think?
Connect card? You ready?
Yeah, do it.
Here's the question. Where was your first kiss?
Wow.
Do you remember?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like peck on the cheek?
No, like.
And then like your first like make out.
Yeah.
Let's hear them both.
I mean, peg on cheek. Who knows?
So you don't know?
Well, no. Middle school sometime. I don't know. Probably
do you
hair
remember?
hole. Like.
I feel like everyone remembers like your first kiss, even if it was just like a peck on the cheek. The girl that you kissed first. You don't remember? I remember in the hallway of my middle school. I think I was in like 7th or 8th grade. And he was my first boyfriend, and he kissed me on the cheek in the hallway in the middle of like class passing time. And I was like,
I don't remember that. I feel
you don't
like
remember that?
I feel like I should. But no, my other first kiss was Harefield. I think it was after the football game or before it. I was at a game, like under the bleacher type thing.
Oh, okay. Oh, is it a boyfriend or girlfriend, or was it just a?
We were boyfriend girlfriend, yeah.
Oh, who was it?
Well, I'm not gonna say names, but
you can't.
It doesn't matter.
But it was one of your girlfriends, your first girlfriend.
I think so. Yeah, I think we're.
I mean, it had to be your first girlfriend.
We were dating at that point. Yeah.
Underneath the bleachers of Faith, or like a public high school?
Harefield.
What's Harefield? I don't know.
Harefield in Hillsborough.
Is it a public high school?
Yeah, it's just games used to get played there. You'd go there for games.
My first kiss, besides the peck on the kiss, was
bus.
Yeah, do you know?
Yeah, I know the story. Of course, we know every story.
I went to a public high school, okay? Jeremy went to a cute little private Christian school. I was very sheltered. And I was sheltered by my family and parents, but went to a massive public high school. And my first kiss, I was on the cross-country bus home from our first, it was like our first away meet. So it was a long drive home from Corvallis. And all the cross-country team was doing truth or dare on the bus on the way home. And my best friend dared me to make out with this boy who was like the king Boy Scout. He was literally like a, what's it called? When you're like,
Eagle Scout.
Yes, he was an Eagle Scout. And he was just a very nerdy cross-country runner boy. And my best friend at the time dared me to make out with him. And I remember he had braces. And this was at the time when like everyone was starting to get braces. And
brutal.
It was just like,
brutal.
What a like horrible first kiss story. I hold it over her head to this day. I'm like, my first kiss was because you dared me to make out with this boy on the cross-country bus. But no, anyways.
Yeah, we know those stories about each other.
Yeah, we do.
Want to do one more?
Sure. Go for it.
Oh, I'm always pulling from the back.
My first like real kiss though with a boyfriend was in my parents' front yard. Just like saying goodbye by the car, classic.
Yeah.
You're not feeling them.
Well, no, these are like, I think we've already done these. How would you survive a post-apocalyptic world?
You're pulling from the wrong side then.
I love that one.
Okay, well, in today's episode, we're going to talk about what would you call them, babe? Our philosophies, our hacks, if you could consolidate just kind of everything that we are about as parents or have come to be about as parents over the past 8 years of parenting.
As it stands,
into one podcast.
Our current standing of parental philosophy, like what we're thinking right now and kind of how we tackle things and things that have helped a lot and ways we're trying to, I would say, successfully become the desired guides for our kids. Mm-hmm. Because kids by default will obviously look up to their parents, but we're a ways away from this point. But at some point, they will choose to follow their parents because you will get found out. And so I feel like right now we're really trying to unlock this, structural a Rubik's Cube of relational equity with our kids. And there's just some things that we've enjoyed and felt like sharing on the parenting journey.
Yeah. And I feel like so many of our listeners, so many of you guys are in this same season of life as us, where we haven't set out we didn't like when we became parents say, these are going to be the 10 things we're going to be about as parents. This list is kind of like evolved through our parenting journey, and it will also probably continue to evolve. So it's not exhaustive. It's just like where we're at right now. This is kind of like what we are about as parents, and I hope that this can be like helpful, like help glean from the things that we've learned wrong, because we're going to tell stories about the things that we have learned the hard way that have kind of made way for some of these philosophies, I guess you could say. So I hope it can be helpful, and also just like, you guys are in the same season of life of us. You get it. You know, you're constantly changing and adapting to what works, what's working for your family and what's not. So
yeah, before we jump into it though, I want to put it here so I can actually see some of them. I did a Q&A box, and a lot of people ask what these drinks are that we always drink. And now it's just like one of those good times to drink them. And so we always just make them for the podcast because it's like, it's a good time to get our gut health drinks in. But they're gut health drinks. You could probably share more specifically on them. But obviously the gut-brain axis, the gut being your second mind, they call it the second brain. Everyone's had butterflies or a gut feeling. Mm-hmm. So the health of the gut is in some way directly tied to the emotional intelligence of the vessel, of the temple. Mm-hmm. And so obviously to prioritize gut health is paramount, and it's linked to so much of the bodily functions, but also every single thing you put in your body has to go through your gut. Mm-hmm. So the health of it, I mean, I think it's unparalleled as far as the effect it has on the body. And we just don't, now we're talking about it. It's kind of become mainstream, but this is just one small way that we're like trying to help supplement our gut health, I guess you could say. Mm-hmm. Eating healthy and clean is obviously the primary way you should be doing that and can do that. But it's a gut health drink.
Yeah. It's called Happy Juice. I've shared about it on social media a lot. We'll put the link for it in the show notes if you guys want to try it. The exact flavor that we're drinking is watermelon, but there's also a mango flavor and a grape flavor. And the mango has some caffeine from green coffee beans, so it's natural caffeine. So it doesn't. You guys know I don't drink caffeine.
I like the mango a lot.
The mango flavor is amazing.
My favorite.
I don't want to drink it too late in the day, like if I didn't drink it in the morning. But the watermelon has no caffeine. You can drink it later in the day. But it is also really good for energy. It's got nootropics in it, mushroom extracts. So it's really good for helping balance like cortisol levels, and serotonin. Like all of that. That's why it's called Happy Juice. So again, go back to gut-brain axis and how the two are connected, your mind and your gut.
It's like 80 to 90% of your serotonin is produced in your gut. So literally the chemical that makes you happy, is primarily produced in your gut. So logic to reason, the health of your gut is directly correlated to the amount of happiness or health that you feel emotionally. It's a crazy strong link there. Anyways, it's one way we supplement it. And
I started drinking it postpartum with Mirabella, and that's kind of how we found out about it, because I wanted to drink it to replenish my microbiome after giving birth, because the mother passes a lot of that on to the baby, and so it's really important to replenish that in that time. So that's when I started it. I was like, I want to see if this helps. And it was by far my best postpartum experience ever, in terms of like coming back with feeling energized, my hormones balancing out quicker. And just, I feel like it was so helpful for energy specifically, for me. But then I'm sure I was doing a lot of things that I didn't know about in my gut to help that with that energy and my mood and stabilizing my hormones and all of that. So anyways, it's great stuff.
Where can people get it?
We'll put the link in the show notes for you guys.
Link in the show notes.
Anyways, I was thinking though, babe, before we dive into this, have we ever told the story of our first kiss? And do you remember?
No, I don't think we have.
Do you remember?
Oh boy, babe. Yeah, you're gonna have to.
You don't remember?
No, of course I remember. You've asked me this several times.
We didn't have like a first pet kiss. We just went for it. It was our first kiss.
Yeah.
But remember the first time you tried to kiss me, I denied it.
Yep. First time was.
Why don't you tell that story?
Yeah, the first time I tried. By the way, the train's going by, so you're gonna hear it. First time was one of the most perfectly romantic setups, playouts, movie scene type scenarios I could possibly dream up, and you denied it, which just, tell the story. It was wood on the fire for me. I was like, oh my goodness, this is good. This is the chase thing.
I denied it because we weren't dating.
This is the chase men go to battle for.
I wanted the label of dating in order to kiss you.
Yeah, you were so fundamentalist.
But tell it. Why was it so good?
So yeah, we were.
You had perfectly crafted.
Yeah, we had
You were setting yourself up.
We
for
had
success
a great.
there, buddy.
Yeah, we had a great campfire. Everyone had left, right? Because there were people there.
I don't remember that. No, I don't think they were.
Was it just you and me?
No, it was the night of Push the Envelope. It was that night.
No, it was on the field behind the campfire pit with the coyotes.
I know where it was, but it was that night. It was after that day.
Oh, it was after that.
That's
it was
why
the same
we did it.
Day?
That's why you tried to kiss me, because we had this amazing day.
Wow. Okay. Well,
And
I'm not going to tell. I'm not going to
the
spend 45 minutes telling the entire story. I'm just going to say the actual kiss story.
Yes. Tell that. Okay.
We had this amazing day. We went to the campfire pit, and we had a great time at the campfire pit. And we ended. So there's this like westward view where you can see the mountain range, and the sun goes down there, and then the stars and the moon start to come up over your left shoulder. But there's this like hill, and it was hay season, so there was all these rows of hay or whatever. So we walked out into the field because you didn't know about stars or something, and so I was telling you
What?
Yeah,
that is not true.
I was telling you like where the stars were. We were like, we're having this beautiful, expansive conversation. You know, when you're
I mean, like constellation.
When you're young and you have those big conversations about life. We were wrapped up in that, and so that was emotionally charging, I think, the moment. Anyways, totally. I bundled up a bunch of hay and made this like 24-inch mattress of hay, and we threw this big blanket down. And yeah, well, I remember we held hands. It was
we were in the hay. The hay was it was hay season, so we were.
That's
like,
what I'm saying. I built this huge thing of hay. I screwed it all together, and we laid it on the hay or whatever. Anyways, long story short, we had this great conversation. It was romantic. We were holding hands, whatever. And then
you reached over to hold my hand.
Yeah.
While we were looking at the stars. I remember that vividly.
Yes.
And I was like, oh gosh, he's holding my hand.
Sheesh, babe. And then I leaned over to kiss you. Or I went 90%. Mm-hmm. And I was like, if she's going to go...
She's going to go 10.
The 10%. But you didn't go the 10%. You were like frozen. It was like cryo sleep all of a sudden. And I was like, I either petrified her with romance or... Actually, that's got to be what it is, because there's no way she's not into me. That's what gave me the courage to keep pursuing you. But
did I say something in that moment, or just turned you down?
What
I
happened?
know I looked away. You came in and I looked away. Remember?
What did I do? I just like...
I don't know what happened after that.
We must have said so. It was so...
No.
It was one of those situations that like we didn't need the kiss to tell us that the moment was real.
Totally.
And so... I wasn't really, I remember not being hurt by it. I was like, that was one of the realest things I've ever experienced, just the whole night, the whole day.
Yeah, totally.
Kiss would have been a cherry on top, but it's not I didn't need the kiss to prove to me what I just gave my story.
Yeah.
Like my love story, that's what our book's about. Like, what's the love story you want to tell? Like, I felt like I built a massive chapter there that night, that day we did. And the kiss would have been a cherry on top, but it didn't happen. That's okay. It just gave an opportunity for it later down the line, which I'm trying to think, what was the actual...
I don't remember that one. It wasn't as meaningful.
Was it your dorm room?
What? No.
Remember when I climbed up the creaky stairs in your... creak in your whole dorm house?
No, we were dating then, because that was when you came to visit me, and then I was like,
everyone's
one
like,
more kiss before you drive 18 hours home.
I can imagine it now. Everyone's like, there he goes up the stairs. And you're brutal. Oh, and I knew it too. I was like, everyone knows I'm going up there.
Yeah. Oh, it's so good. No, babe, our first kiss was by the campfire too, though. Remember? Right by the tree break.
Oh, yeah, that's in the book. We stopped in the moonlight. I stopped you right there where we
were just walking back to the farmhouse from the campfire pit.
Full moon was coming through the trees, and we stopped right there in the beam of light. It was like a 2-foot window, so we could see each other perfectly. And
it was very intentional. You were like, I'm going to stop her here.
I stopped you, and I said, well, because you needed to be broken.
But we were dating.
Yes, but you had this wall up that was impenetrable, and I was like, at some point I'm gonna have to just tell her, you need to kiss me to get over whatever you're dealing with. Like, just
okay, wait, hold on. So did we not kiss when you asked me to be your girlfriend on the trestle?
I don't think so, Audrey.
We didn't kiss.
No,
I was like, yes,
crazy.
I'll be your girlfriend, then you didn't kiss. We didn't kiss.
Audrey, every time we tell stories of our dating, it's like shock and awe that we're married.
We had no
Everyone's
problem.
like, you put up with that? Like, you kept pursuing it? Yes, I did.
Yeah, well, if you read our book, also had no problem being physical after that. It was just up until we started.
Once again, you had this thing that needed to be unlocked.
I wanted to have that. I wanted to
Isn't want the enemy of...
I can't believe we didn't kiss when you asked me to be your girlfriend on the trestle, though. We didn't. So it must have been days after we were dating that we had our first kiss that day.
Yeah.
Wow, that's crazy.
But honestly, kissing felt secondary to what we were like
experiencing.
Absolutely. We were experiencing this like deep oneness, pursuit of love.
Yeah.
That felt primary. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like physical activity was like a bolt on to this thing, this momentum.
Yeah.
That was like moving us through time and space. And like, it's going to be great to kiss at some point and add that to this, whatever this energy is. Let's add that when the time is right.
Totally.
Good way to put it, huh?
That facial expression when you just
I know I'm right.
Okay. Back to parenting. That's good, babe. I like those stories. Those are good. It's good to reminisce on those.
I haven't thought
it's good for the soul, you know?
It is.
I was thinking about that too at church on Sunday, because you know how Steve was talking about like his falling in love and falling in love with his wife and what it was like to have that time stop where you just, and that night when you tried to kiss me, it was like 3 a.m. Remember my dad texted me that. I remember my dad texted me and was like, where are you? Because it's 3 a.m. and we had no idea, because we just lost track of time all the time. We had no clue what time it was. And I remember when he was the pastor, he was talking about how like they stayed up super late talking, and then they woke up in the morning and they were full of energy. They weren't tired.
Yeah, that was us.
It was us.
Yeah, it was us.
We didn't sleep. We literally didn't sleep. And I remember having to wake up in the morning for like at 7 a.m. to do a workout. Remember, before it got hot in the summer, to run forever. And I had energy to do it.
Totally.
Because I was just think about energized by love.
It's a real thing. Like
totally.
they say
it is.
They say, I mean, the Bible says God is love, right? So like when you are participating in love, you're participating in this definition of God that I believe is very real. And God is definitely not death. He's definitely not tired. You know, he's not all of these other things. He's life and energy and vitality. And so, to be siphoning from that energy, it was like,
yeah, I mean, I say to date, that's part of the reason. That's part of what
healed
me.
You. Totally, it was love. Love healed you. It was a
it
was a medicinal, divine balm of health for you. Yeah. Wow, that's a whole podcast. We also need to do a podcast on a conversation on
So many things to talk about.
timeless moments, because we got a lot
time.
unhindered time. A lot of people were like, "What do you mean unhindered time? Where there's no time?" I'm telling you.
I feel like anybody that's fallen in love knows what we mean.
Yeah, but they might not
You
they might not know what they experience, and so sometimes they just need like an explanation, and I feel like we can explain it at some point for those that had the questions. You know what I mean? A lot of people didn't know what we meant, but yeah, to experience no time is it's a profound, it's what everyone, that is eternity, and it's what everyone's craving for, and heaven is here and also not yet. And so it's,
yeah, falling in love is like a form of heaven. It's presence. It's,
yeah, totally.
yeah.
And then when we get married, obviously the feminine, the masculine coming together in unity, the overlap, the harmonic dance, it's a representation of both. It's just all of it. It's amazing. Okay, let's get into what we're actually supposed to talk about, though.
Okay. So, I mean, this is good. I think this is fun.
Yeah, but maybe our minds are there right now. We could just keep going on this stuff.
No, it's okay. We'll just not divert too far.
Okay, we're already halfway through the show, so.
It's our show. We can do whatever we want.
Maybe we make it part 1, part 2.
Okay, so.
Okay.
First thing. Here's the first thing. We kind of like.
Yeah,
this
boom,
is
stop.
Chicken scratch, like these are the things.
We're shifting gears to.
Jared and I read through these before, and we're like, yep, I think this encompasses kind of just like our philosophy right now, and what's been really helpful, kind of like phrases or things to do that have been super helpful in this season of parenting a lot of little kids. So, and a lot of this has come from books that we've read, podcasts we've listened to, or friends with kids in an older season of life than us that we've like gleaned wisdom from, or just our own experience with our own kids.
Yeah.
So the first one is inviting them in, inviting kids in, and specifically inviting them in to be contributors. So one of the biggest examples, and like I think this has been like a huge thing for us in our family culture, is that like we invite our kids to do things with us and alongside us. And I'll just give one example. Like I've always invited the kids in the kitchen with me. Like it's not like, hey, go away from the kitchen while I'm making dinner and I'm being efficient doing this thing. It's like, no, come be here. Come be a part of it. This is why you always see videos of our kids like on the kitchen counter with me, all of them cooking, making a mess, peeling carrots all over the floor and helping me stir the soup, and it boils over, and it is a disaster mess a lot of the time. But I'm inviting them in because I want that time with them. And today, one of our children says his favorite thing to do with me is cooking and helping me make dinner. But also it's giving them a chance to learn alongside me and be a part of something. And you're not isolating like parents do this and kids do this culture where like the parents do everything for the kids. It's like, no, from a young age, the kids can be a part of the family team in these little ways. And like, obviously at their level, right. And as they grow, but I was reading this one book. It's called Hunt, Parent, Gather, Parent, Hunt,
Parent, Gather.
And they talk about this a lot, and they talk about how in a lot of cultures, like other cultures that aren't American cultures, how big this is there, where kids are a part of the chores, the life, the work, so much more than we are here in America, where it's like parents do everything for their kids. Go ahead.
For me, it'd be making a fire or literally like installing the door locks. You know what I mean? I have the boys invite them.
Yeah,
I have them hold the tools and do the thing. And they don't stick with me forever. They start for 10 minutes and they're off on their thing. But they know that they always have a seat with daddy doing a thing. And it's not just daddy's thing or whatever. Like I go watch my movie or whatever. Dad doesn't want me around him. It's inviting him in.
And I think
that's been huge.
I think part of the reason why tell me what you think about this, babe, but because I'm kind of thinking on the fly. We haven't like talked about this specifically, but I think part of the reason why I like the word invite and why it's been like an invitation is it's never been like, come sit on it's not a chore. It's not like you have to do the fire with dad or you have to help me make dinner. Like, you know what I mean? It's not like there's plenty of nights where I'm like, Bo, do you want to help me peel carrots? And he's like, no. You know what I mean? And I'm like, fine. Okay. But like, it's a constant invitation to invite them to do the thing with you, whether it's an outside project, an inside project, whatever it is. But beyond that, I also think like inviting them into our world, like on a bigger level. Yeah. I think like Jeremy and I have never been like the parents that have taken our kids to like an indoor play gym every weekend, or like doing very like, we've never done like the super kids specific things. We've invited them to do the things that we want to do, or that we think our family wants to be about. Like, let's go on a family hike.
That's fine. And we do that.
But my point is,
but it isn't,
it's not the
it's
rhythm.
Not the focus.
It's not the norm.
Exactly. And this is our way of doing it is, there's
like we take them to nice restaurants and we allow them to be invited into like
the team
adult world and not like constantly go to the thing that's catering to them.
Yeah.
But
So
allow them to be.
We'll go to restaurants and like we'll have a family team discussion before of like, hey guys, we're team roll-offs going to a nice restaurant, and there are ways to behave at a nice restaurant that you don't know yet. So while we're here, mom and dad, coaches are going to tell you guys a few things on how to do this, because you guys don't know how to do this yet. Like, don't you want to learn how to? And so like, it's the team roll off goes to the restaurant, and it just makes.
And they aren't always like, yes, mom and dad, we want to learn how to do this, right? Like they're kids, but also it's I think over time, them being invited into our world, like we want them to continue to be in our world as they get older. We want them to be a part of the things and have these experiences with us. And it's not like we sent them to do the kid thing over there while we did the adult thing over here. And there's a time and place for that. But for the most
that happens.
Okay. Next, this one kind of goes off that. But I think this has been super, super helpful for me as a mom of 4 little kids, because it's a very messy, chaotic season of life. And I think this goes back to mindset, which is very riffing off our last podcast, but seeing the messes as an investment. I think that's been like so helpful for me, specifically as a mom. I think it's harder for moms to do this because they tend to be the organizers of the things, the know where things goers. And I think all of that can be overstimulating. Like moms, it's just a big, heavy burden that we carry to like know where everything goes, right, in the house, and messes, putting away the messes. Not like cleaning, deep cleaning, but like, putting away the messes. It can be a really overstimulating thing. But I think seeing the messes as an investment, and I'll give an example. So going off the cooking example, right? It's very messy for me to invite our kids to come and cook with us. Food gets everywhere. But like, I see that as an investment in their development. I see that as an investment of quality time with my kids. I see that as an investment in the family team, where they're learning to be helpers, they're learning to be independent and capable, and they're being empowered as like a contributor in the family. And so I think that seeing the messes in that way. Another example is like, we have a kind of like nook room in our house. We call it the homeschool room, but it's like the craft homeschool room. Yeah. Our kids have access to everything in that room. Tape, scissors, glue, paint, they get it out themselves whenever they want. There's not like a lock cupboard where like
they have access, but they ask
and they actually every single time annoyingly kind of ask, like every single time before they use the scissors, mom, can I cut? Yeah, because the scissors.
I don't think I've ever caught any of them.
No one's ever cut their hair yet.
I don't think I've ever caught any of them cutting though without permission.
Yeah, so they do ask, but they have free reign to use the things, and our kids are so creative because we've invested in the mess. Another example would be like, we let our kids get really dirty outside in the mud. We let them take off their shoes. It's a lot of laundry. It's a lot of cleanup. Yeah. It's messy boots. We have to be extra intentional with like layering them up and layering them down when they come inside because they're messy, right? But we want that investment in the mess because we want them to get dirty. We want them to be creative. We want them to use what's around them to make things, make mess, make beautiful mess.
And that's like something that's not on this list is I love it when our kids say they're bored. Because it just like
they don't often say that though.
They don't, but what the point I'm getting at is
I think there's
so many parents currently are terrified of their kids being bored, or it's just even for parents it's looked at as this like negative thing. And I think it's a healthy position of the mind that we've completely eradicated from our being. Like us adults, it's like we have a hard time standing in line at the grocery store or at a stoplight without pulling out some sort of distraction or stimulus for the mind. It's like we're terrified of being with ourselves. We're terrified of being bored. We're terrified of where our mind might go if it was left to wander. Instead, we choose to guide it through these endless trails of distraction. And I just think for kids specifically, like that's one of their superpowers is creativity. They're not programmed to do anything yet. And so when their mind is left to explore and wander and create, it's like a beautiful thing. And you can prop up a suggestion. It's like, well, why don't you go do this or this or this? Or, hey, the upstairs is totally yours. Or go outside and see what a rock sounds like when it was thrown against another rock. I don't care what you do. Just go figure out what to do. And, it's a fight sometimes, but we got to get back to the health of boredom is really what it is. I think I think it's health. And if we just reclassify that word bored to maybe like open, you know what I mean? Or whatever. I think that's a missing, missing link to an adult's health life, but also, this is literally what the process of contemplative prayer or meditation, whatever you want to call it, is forcing the mind into these spaces where it can hear and where it can listen, where it can create, which is, by the way, a God gift, right? Like God's the one that creates, but we don't allow for that anymore because we've just distracted ourselves outside of boredom.
It's good.
Anyways.
Yeah, and I think with boredom, like what you're saying about that, our kids, when you let them be bored for long enough, they'll obviously find something to do. If you let them have the ability to find something to do, if you're always the entertainer of your kids, like you're literally their playtime is dependent on you. This is where this is kind of an addendum thing to this, but like if you let them be bored for long enough, they'll find something to do. And generally what they find to do on their own might be messy. It might create a mess. And you got to just see that as an investment in your kid. Like the more you can do that, obviously I know that's hard. Like there's a lot of cleanup and we have once a week reset rooms of the craft room. But for the most part, I let it be messy. It just is. Once a week we go through and we clean it up and organize and they know certain things to put away. Which is a great segue
to the next one, grace for the phases.
Yeah, okay, you do that one. You hit it.
Yeah, well, grace for the phases. We kind of touched a lot on this the last episode, but there's just phases. And like we've let go that even though a lot of our life's public, a lot of our life isn't going to look Instagram worthy. It's just going to be messy because that's the phase we're in. And I would rather enjoy this phase than constantly being not able to escape it, but unhappy with it.
Yeah.
I'd rather accept it and be joyful and happy and, what's the word? Not gracious. Oh man, I hate it. Content or whatever. Like in that season, because that's the phase we're in. And like when you accept it, it's so much better. And there's such a huge energy release and everything. It's like greasing the wheels of the moment of the car. Anyways, that's
the phases. Another thing about phases is like, I think you realize the longer you're a parent. And again, haven't been a parent that long, but I think now that we have a 7-year-old, you realize and that we have 4 kids, you realize how much stuff truly does happen in phases. Whereas I feel like when you have younger kids or only one kid, you think that like the way your kid is being, they're going to be that way forever, or the way they're eating is how they're going to eat forever, or the way they're sleeping is how they're going to sleep forever. Yeah. And really kids just go through phases, and you go through all this effort and time and question asking and reading books and asking friends for advice on certain things that your kids are struggling with. But by the time you think you've got some answers, they're out of the phase on their own. And so I feel like as parents, we stress ourselves out. We run ourselves ragged trying to fix the phases instead of just embracing that, like, there's going to be a phase where your 3-year-old is maybe a little bit afraid of the dark and they want to come and sleep with you, or they want to sleep with Big Brother, and it's just a phase and it's okay. Like, just let it happen. Yeah. There's going to be a phase where, you have a picky 2-year-old eater for a little bit, and it's just a phase. It doesn't mean they're a picky eater forever. You don't have to
or it doesn't mean that you need to now adopt,
these new strict regulations.
It's like just it's going to be fine most of the time. This is obviously a massive overgeneralization.
And the next one is a good, counter
there's
to that.
Tons of nuance, but just because you brought it up, the example with Rad, he was just getting up out of bed for like 2 weeks or something. And he's just, it's like he's scared of the dark, you know?
He just kept coming out of his room.
And it was really frustrating because it's mom and dad's time to clean the house and reset the room and do the thing and watch a show or read a book or whatever it is that we want to do that night. And it's like, we just keep having to deal with it until like 10, 11, until it's our bedtime. And so...
Not 11, but okay.
Well, but close. I mean, quickly, it was like, let's just let him sleep in Bodhi's bed. So we put him in Bodhi's bed, I think 2 nights in a row. And then it was like done. It's like he just needed to know Bodhi's in the room and feel close to him. And it's like his, you know, the consciousness of kids, like they're learning the energetic presence they have, and they feel alone when they're in bed and they close their eyes. Because when you close your eyes, your awareness of space-time is gone. You are literally just a soul, essentially, floating in blackness, and you have no awareness of your body. Like, it's like, where do I go when I close my eyes? I disappear. You know what I mean? It's kind of how...
That's actually crazy to think about.
Yeah. So it's like, when you close your eyes...
For a 3-year-old, you know, what do they think?
Exactly. Like, it's hard to feel where the tip of your finger is in space-time, because it's not there. I only know it's here because of my visual awareness of it. And so they go into crazy land when they close their eyes, but putting him in Bodhi's bed, I mean, even just Bodhi's presence being sensed by Rad that close, grounded him, secured him, made him feel safe. And literally 2 nights it was over. He hasn't gotten out of bed since. My point is just allowing it.
And I think it can, last thing I'll say about that, and it segues well to the next one, but like as parents, it just like takes the burden off us as parents when you can just allow things to be phases. Like, otherwise you constantly are feeling like you're a bad parent because your kid's doing X, Y, Z, W that you need to fix, right? And it's like, maybe we don't need to always fix everything. Maybe we don't need to always find a solution. Maybe it's just they're developing and they're going to have tantrums for a season. They're going to be picky for a season. They're not going to sleep perfectly every single night for their whole life. They're going to have seasons of not wanting to play with other kids or being shy. They're going to have seasons, and it's okay. And just let them have those.
There are obviously things to address. Like, I feel like I don't need to give a caveat for all this. Our people and those with ears to hear are going to hear this for what it is in our heart. But,
okay, the one that balances that a little bit is boot camps.
Boot camps. When there is an issue that actually needs addressing, this concept, I don't know where we heard it, or in a book.
From a book.
Yeah, but it's like, just boot camp the issue. And that is like hyper dedicated, focused, go on a date night, come up with the 2 or 3 things you want to do for the next 2 or 3 weeks to like just boot camp the issue.
Because this is when the issues become a habit. Like, it's not
the consistency of a boot camping, of boot camping a moment or a problem or an issue. It's in our experience, it's done really, it's helped. It's solved in 2 weeks what we haven't been able to crack with a different kid in like a year. You know what I mean? It's just like, we just need to like boot camp this with a unified vision, unified discipline structure, unified language, and just get after it.
Yeah, the best example I think of boot camp that parents can relate to is potty training. Most parents will boot camp potty training.
Yeah, that's a great example.
Like, you just say, we're going to dedicate a week or two of our lives to being home, and the main thing we're going to focus on with this kid is this, and we're going to kind of let the other things go. You know what I mean? We're not going to crack down on them for not eating their dinner. We're not going to crack down on them for not picking up their shoes. We're not going to crack down. When you're boot camping something, it's like you do kind of have to let those other things go, because as a parent, it's too hard. I mean, for us right now, as a parent of 4 kids, we can't constantly parent every little thing that our kids do every day, all day. We just can't. You do the best you can. But like, when you're boot camping something, you have to give grace to the kids for like the other things. You get what I'm saying? You can't, like, I'm trying to think of another example. Like, if you're really cracking down, like for Ember, like, maybe I shouldn't give super specific examples, but like, you know what I mean? Like, when you're picking, did I lose you?
No, sorry. I'm checking things.
When you're picking something super like specific to boot camp, it can be helpful to you as a parent to know, like, okay, if I'm boot camping this with this one kid, I got to let the other things go with this one kid, because I have 3 other kids to parent too. Meanwhile, So, okay. The next thing, this one's been so helpful. And this we didn't learn until like 3 or 4 years ago, and I can't remember if we've talked about it on a podcast or not, but like, I think this one will be one of the most transformative things in our parenting, especially as our kids get older.
Yeah, and it's going to be a precursor to the big three, I think, down here that are just, man, they've helped a ton. But this is a good precursor.
Yeah. So we were talking to some friends of ours on a work trip that we went on, and they have kids that are older, kids that are in high school, and one that was like graduating. And we were just asking them, like, hey, what are some things you wish you would have known? What are some things that, when you're in season of life?
Real quick. They have an incredible relationship with their teenagers. Their teenagers tell them absolutely everything.
Yeah, that good context.
Yeah, I'm hearing them talk about this relationship. And I think I asked, I'm like, so what's the one thing you think you've done that's helped you build that type of bizarre relationship, healthy, bizarre relationship with your teenagers? Like I literally haven't heard of anyone with that type of dynamic. And then they said this.
Yeah, they said, you can say it.
Oh, they said, there was this communication tactic that was told to them that revolutionized the way that their children thought about them, I guess is a good way to put it. And that is when they said something or came to them with anything as they were kind of older or whatever, when they were ashamed, and because kids, they feel ashamed and they might start to talk to parents, but in the process of the communicational dynamic that goes on, they will learn to either hide their shame in the future, protect themselves, their ego, or open up more and flower and trust and love and divulge information, all this other stuff. So they said, like the kid would come to them and then go, I'm just gonna make up a name.
So-and-so's making fun of me at school.
Yeah. Oh, James, I remember a time when that happened to me. And that phrase they said,
it's, I remember a time when I
remember a time when I felt that way, or when that
happened to me,
when I was teased at school.
Immediately you're on their level, because immediately they can relate to you, like, mom felt that way before, mom had that happen to her, dad experienced this before.
Yeah.
And then it gives you the opportunity to tell a story about the time when that allows you to connect with them instead of and honestly, one of the reasons it's been so helpful is it just gives you something to say. It literally just gives, like, when your kid says, like, Mom, I really don't want to do this because X, Y, Z. You can be like, well, I remember a time when I had to do something that I really didn't want to do. But it just gives you that first sentence, of like.
Yeah. And it doesn't really matter what follows after that, because the emotional progress has already been made, which is unity or connection. It is,
connection. Like,
I'm like, Dad's human like me, or like, oh, I'm like Dad.
Dad's been embarrassed before.
Yeah, it's been huge for our older two kids so far, and we see it being a good tool in the future. So we'll move on.
You always feel so rushed.
Well, I don't know.
I think also too, one of the big reasons why we've loved it and why it's been so helpful is because, like, kids and really humans, one of our biggest struggles is like fear, doubt, guilt, shame. Right? Those are like big things, and I think the shame piece. A lot of kids stop talking to their parents about things and don't have that healthy open door conversation relationship with their parents anymore because they feel shame, or they feel ashamed of something that they did, or they feel ashamed of a question that they have, or if they feel ashamed that they're thinking about something or whatever. So they don't want to tell their parents because they feel shame. And so I think the more that you can use this, like, I remember a time when that allows the kid to never feel shame for something, because all of a sudden mom was there, dad was there.
Yeah.
I think it really, hopefully in the future for us with our kids, will prevent them from feeling shame. And we just don't want them.
It's not going to prevent them.
I know, but sorry.
It's going to give them a home base.
You know what I mean?
To process it with. Yeah. That's the goal, the hope.
Okay. This next one is kind of in the same vein of, like, it's a phrase that we use, but it's kind of encompassed around, like, bedtime. So it's like our philosophy on, like, bedtime. So we have this, like, bedtime. First of all, like, we protect bedtime. So we spend time with each of our kids at bedtime, each of us individually. So we've never been the parents where it's like, you do bedtime for everybody and I go chill. And then it's my night for bedtime and you go chill. Like, a lot of parents do this.
Yeah.
Maybe you don't even know that because we've never done that. But we pretty much like tag team through bedtime. Like we both do everybody. So we both say goodnight to everybody. We both spend a little bit of time with everybody. And it does take more time in the night. Like one of us could just easily be like doing something else or cleaning the whole kitchen.
We
but
have a
just,
pretty good rhythm where it's like after we both do the boys,
weave.
I'll start dishes
We
while you
dodge
go
and
up
weave.
to Ember, and then I'll
Totally.
go up to
We
Ember
do.
when you're leaving. Yeah.
Yes, but the point is, both of us say goodnight to everybody. Both of us spend a little bit of time, and we do this little like bedtime liturgy at the end of the day. It was Jeremy's thing first with the kids, and he basically started. Will you say what you started saying with them?
Yeah.
I love you. Why do I love you?
Yeah. Good night, Bodhi. Why does Daddy love you? Because, and then Bodhi would say, because I'm your son. And I would say, will you always be my son? And he goes, yeah. And I go, then I'll always love you. And then depending on the night, what happened that day, let's say he said some crazy stuff and got in trouble. I'd be like, do I love you no matter what you say? Immediately there's like this, like he knows he had a crazy day or whatever, but it doesn't matter because I still love him despite all the disciplines, despite whatever happened. And so, I don't know, we're just trying to anchor this core concept into their mind, which is our love will transcend all circumstances or success, including success stories or what they say or who they are or their need to like strive to be, to earn our love somehow. It's just, nope. Mm-hmm. The base core golden thread of their life is our love is here because it's supposed to represent God's love, right? Like we are that representation.
And we do say that a lot, like God loves you like that.
Yeah. Yeah. Totally.
But I think it also at the end of the day, like Jeremy was saying, it helps to ground our kids at the end of the day, no matter what happened, like they can kind of rely on that connection time with mom and dad where we're going to say this, we're going to look them in the eyes. And it's this like, even if we were yelling at them or upset or they were had to have a consequence right before bed or whatever, it gives you a chance to always end the day on a good foot, which I think is helpful.
They get to go into that astral plane of dreamland with like a safety boat.
Yeah, but also
a tether to reality.
We do, because how often as parents do
totally.
we put our kids to bed? I think before we started implementing this and be like, gosh, I was too hard on that, or I said this, or I shouldn't have done that. You feel that all that guilt starts to come out on you, or that shame starts to come on you as a parent after you put them to bed. You think about the way the day ended and you don't like it, but this gives you a chance to just kind of like right the wrongs at the end of the day. Yeah.
Well, I'm just going to say like what we're explaining right now is on a children's level for the exact concept of the marriage journal for adults or married couples. Mm-hmm. Once a week, you got to just recenter on these core principles, which is no matter how what's it called, roommate mode you're in or whatever, doing the tasks and the thing, and love seems like it's faded in that first kiss energy that we talked about. It's like, where is it? Recenter on the reality, on the truth, on the promise, and like, what do we need to forgive each other for? I do love you. Let's talk about, what was hard for me this week, or joy, or like, let's get the calendar a little bit more squared away so we don't have so much chaos in the week ahead. The marriage journal is what we're talking about right now for this daily, nightly check-in with the kids of like restructuring their heart towards unity with us. You know what I mean? That's what the marriage journal is for adults. So anyways.
Okay. You want to hit next?
Yeah. Let's
Number
see where
6?
we are here.
Team culture. And this is really just like, we talk about this actually in our chapter, the extra chapter that we wrote like a couple years after A Love Letter Life came out. We wrote an extra chapter. Do you even know about it?
Yeah, I know about it.
For A Love Letter Life. And it was kind of like, okay, what does our love look like now with kids and family and whatever? And a big point, like a big takeaway for us that we wanted to share in that chapter was like, how do we love each other now well with our kids? And one of the ways that we do that is through like family-centered parenting and this idea of a family team. Like now we have members on the team besides Jeremy and I in our love and marriage and whatever. We have these members on the team that are affecting the team and they're part of it, and we want them to be a part of it. We want them to influence our love story. We want them to be invited in, we want them to be a part of it. And I use this example with feeding our kids because it's just an easy example. So like, a lot of people maybe make the choice to make a separate meal for their kids every night for dinner. And that would be like child-centered parenting, right? Where it's like you're catering to the child in the way that you operate as a family. And then on the opposite extreme, you have parent-centered, where it's like everything is about the parent, right? The schedule is operating off the parent's work schedule and off the parent's desires and likes, and where you're not at all catering to the likes, interests, needs of the kids because you're so focused on meeting the needs and demands of daily life as parents and adults. Yeah. And so I think like what we've tried to do is find this middle ground where the kids are part of the family team, and the family team, all members of the team are important. Now the coaches are still the coaches. The coaches are still calling the shots. But we're all part of the same team and the same mission, where it's like the kids aren't over here doing this thing that's separate. Yeah. Like we're going to have a family movie night and we're all going to watch the same movie together because we're going to then talk about that afterwards, and we're going to have dinner together and we're all going to eat the same thing. And
the reality is that human beings are by nature communal based, relational seeking, which seems obvious, but maybe the nuance or the less obvious thing is if they do not get those needs met and feel safe at home, they will go find it elsewhere. They're young now, but Little League baseball, right? Or whatever, however early they're feeling a more positive pull and sense of identity and belonging somewhere else, their energy is going to just naturally, by design, flow there. It's just, I don't know, a sobering thought to think about around the team.
And family team, like this is why also Family Values Planner has been so helpful for us, because as a family team, we have a family mission statement. So we have these little isms and phrases that we say that build up our team culture, like roll-offs do hard things, right? And so like our kids know that and they say that, and it makes them feel part of the team, because as a team, we have this mission statement where we, roll-offs, we get outside in pursuit of, like we have this rhythm, like this, these little isms that we say and do, and that all of our family values come underneath of that. And so that's where the Family Values Planner has really been like so helpful and important as a pillar of this.
Yeah, which is why we made it. Yeah. For you and anyone else to like, if you don't have this structure to like orbit around throughout the month or the year,
or make decisions based off of,
yeah, I mean, it's make this, because it'll make every month easier. It'll make all your values easier. It'll just be a really helpful tool. But anyways,
you can get it, beating50%.com, Family Values Planner. It's very affordable. It's like a PDF downloadable printable thing if you want to print it out.
This way a little bit, babe.
Okay, which way?
Oh, you're just nothing. What does this say? Let them.
Yeah, so this is kind of like...
Wait, what is it? Try...
Basically, the concept... I don't know. Have you seen this on Instagram?
Oh, I see.
I use this word because it's like the best way to describe it, but I know this is kind of like a trendy thing, so I don't know if this is the best way to describe what we actually mean by this. But like the whole like concept of letting them, let them theory, like let them do this, let them do that. If they want to wear their princess dress to school, let them. If they want to sleep in their fort,
before you get into this, let me just say something real quick. Again, our thought, my opinion, but so often what I feel myself doing is I have these expectations or parameters around the way I want the house to look, my life, my workout routine, or whatever it might be, or the way I want to relax at night. And I superimpose those on the explorative, natural nature of my kids. And this is where I think a lot of unnecessary or like overreactive, involved parenting might come out. And that is like, Bodie and Rad wake up and like they want to go make a fort. And like I want to say, I just cleaned the house till 10:30 last night. 2 hours? Like, no. And there are times where we do say no, like, hey, no, we're going to church today, or we're going to go do this today. You can't do that. But we're saying in general, maybe just, let them. And that's kind of the concept. Is like you mitigate so much friction when this excited about life, full of energy, brand new day, the dawn has come, ball of life, of love, comes out of their room, and the first thing they want to do is make a fort where they feel safe and secure in, because it represents the larger home that they feel safe and secure in. And they're dancing through these emotional dynamics, and they're trying to physically explore their emotions. And maybe I'm overthinking it, or maybe I'm trying to communicate this like this deep interwoven interplay between the physical and the spiritual of what's taking place. And so like, just let them sometimes, a lot of the time. And for us, we started to adopt this practice a few years ago, and it's cut in half, I would say, the conflict in our home.
Because it's also kind of goes back to, again, mindset and embracing.
Yeah. Like Ember wants to play piano for the 4th time. And I remember even like since Christmas, like a few months ago, I would just say like, no, you've already played piano today twice. But then I'm like, but who cares? Like, just let her do it. Let her go do it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I think as parents, don't you think like it can be so easy to immediately just say no to our kids? Like, have you seen that thing where you let your kids have a yes day?
The
We've
yes
never
day.
done that.
Yeah.
But like, it can just be so easy as parents to just find yourself saying, no, you can't eat that. You can't do that. You can't wear that. You can't say that. You can't. We're just constantly focused with our kids so much. And I think if you just like spend the day, and we should do this, honestly, like spend the day just keeping track of how many times what you say no to them for, and look back at your day of like all those things you said no to, and like, do they really matter? Like, did it really matter? Like, no, you can't wear your shoes on the wrong feet.
Yeah.
Why? Does it really matter?
Like
who cares if for 2 years of your life you want to wear your shoes backwards? Like,
well, no, I don't know if you could let them
your
do that,
shirt backwards.
Yeah,
as
but
long as it's like safe.
It's like,
for
wow,
them,
bedtime routine today.
Healthy.
Bedtime routine today was really bad. But then when you go back and look at the day, you're like, wow, I told my kid no, 68 times, and it's like half of these don't even matter. You know what I mean? Like, they literally don't matter. Now that my emotions have calmed down and I'm looking at this with a sobering mind, I should have never, like. They wanted a few more grapes, and I said no because dinner was coming up. I mean, it's like, I don't know. There's just like, these things.
Whatever. Yeah. An extra book, does it really hurt you to read one extra book?
And it's like,
these are the days, right?
when it does matter is because I want to go do my workout sooner. But what we're trying to say though is I'm literally going to say no for a 3.5 minute moment. And so this is all nuanced. It's just kind of the general idea.
We should do that to keep track of everything we said no
great.
for a day.
Or
do the yes thing.
It's one of the CEO's the what you do tracker is supposed to be like every 30 minutes or something. You write down. Anyways, it's a super big CEO. I want to do that with improvement tactic or whatever.
And then I want to do the yes day thing with them.
That'd be interesting.
Fun to do.
We'll let you know when we do. We should. We'll share about it. All right, dangerous things carefully. This is just kind of like a family culture thing for us, and everyone's got their own barometer here. But our kids know. Like, if I struggle at doing anything, one of my kids will say, "It's okay, Dad. Roll-offs do hard things," and I'll just automatically have Superman strength to do whatever I'm doing. Because they just know roll-offs do hard things. And that is coupled on this doing dangerous things carefully. Like, dangerous things, when we say that, it's like, think of the word like adventure, right? Like, adventures are typically, courage is involved, danger, some sort of risk. You're outside of your environment. You're going on this you're doing something worth telling a story about. And very often, I think we can find ourselves in this place where we just like are so overprotective as parents in our current culture. Like, even me from growing up, I'm speechless at the things we would do on that farm. I mean, I cannot even begin. There's stories I won't even utter in publicly ever, probably, of stuff we would do. So
dangerous.
Oh my gosh.
It's by the grace of God that you're alive.
I'm not kidding. I am stunned at half the stuff we did on that place. But like, we turned out all fine, and us, people do get hurt and injured, and it's a real thing. I think over The overwhelming the overwhelming sentiment is we are overprotective and we don't let kids be kids and explore their boundaries.
Their boundaries. That's the main thing.
Yeah.
It's like they need to know what their limits are so that they can
so
be
like
more capable and aware.
Yeah. So like the rock wall I built, for example,
confident.
it's a dangerous thing. And so I had a conversation with the kids. I'm like, hey, you guys are going to go up there. This is a really dangerous thing, but daddy's going to let you do it. If you fall down from anywhere above here, and there's this little, where like my chest is, I'm like, if you fall down above here, you could break an arm, you could break a leg. It could not be good. So you guys are going to learn how to do this, and you're going to learn how to do it well, and you're going to be careful. And then we have some rules and stuff like this, but go ahead and do a dangerous thing carefully. And that's like the conversation we had or whatever. And so they know it's dangerous. And they know to be careful, and they're kids and they mess up and they do their thing and blah, blah, blah. And they're not always listening. And, you know, we have a very normal family as well. Like our kids are not perfect. We're not perfect by any means, but
I think also the more that kids have the ability to do dangerous things carefully, the more confident they'll be if they get into an actual dangerous situation. Like they'll know what to do.
Yeah. So
and like that is kind of what we're trying to build, is like we're actually trying to protect them by allowing them to do this, because they're going to get in situations. Like I think about you. You don't really get injured or hurt or fall or ever because you were so because you had so many years of doing dangerous things carefully that you just know how to do things.
Yeah, I know my body really well.
And you just more than a lot of other people, whereas a lot of other people would find themselves in quite the pickle because they just didn't have that practice.
Yeah, like, oh my gosh.
You know what I mean?
I just thought of something I shouldn't waste time on this story, but it's okay. We're going to go over, maybe we make this a part 1, part 2, but it's just this camping trip. There's this crazy huge log that was leaning on this waterfall. And so I crossed the river, or we scaled along the side of the river with one of my buddies. And anyways, I like ran up this mossy log, and it was,
oh, I remember this.
It's like, no, this just happened. This is a different time. This literally just happened last weekend.
Like on Mueller's birthday?
Yeah. And I'm like 30 feet in the air on this mossy, crazy, rotten log. And because I tried to get
raining and icy.
Oh yeah, I tried to get to this little spot up here, and I realized, like when almost to the top, I realized I miscalculated the structure of this log, and so I had to bear crawl backwards. Huge waterfall, I'm like 20 feet up, bear crawl backwards down this log, like looking at my feet moving backwards, and I mean it took like 5 minutes. Of just
Are you serious?
Maybe,
was anyone up there with you?
Yeah, 2 minutes. My buddy's like, bro, you got yourself in a pickle. And I'm just like walking backwards.
Wait, someone was up there with you?
Yeah. No, not on the log, Audrey, just off to the side. And anyways, it was a dangerous thing, but trying to do it carefully. Anyways, it could have turned out really bad. Thankfully, it didn't. And same with kids. Like one of our kids could fall off the rock wall and break an arm. And there's a higher likelihood that will happen because we have the rock wall. But also, our kids are getting so strong and they're learning their body and their dexterity is really well. And Bodhi's doing these rock maneuvers that like drop knees that I'm like, dude, I learned that in college and you're doing this at 5. You know what I mean? It's awesome. Anyways.
Yeah. The benefits versus the cost. Like it's just.
Yeah. It's I think I would rather risk, some temporary pains for this long-term capability.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And I think one thing that's really inspired this has been like, when you go to the playground with your kids, and we're not like huge playgrounders, but like when we lived in the neighborhood. What
do you
house,
mean, babe? We love the playground's incredible.
We don't go to the playground with our kids that much. Like think about last time Riley's been to the playground.
Well, we should go more.
Yes. Okay. My point is, when we lived in the neighborhood, we went to the playground more because we could walk there, and the kids. When you're there, you're around a bunch of other parents and strangers that you don't know, and you just constantly be careful, be careful, be careful.
Yeah,
it's like
just
don't do that. No, right? No, is again going back.
I mean,
to
that sounds pretty judgmental.
Thing. It kind of, but like.
But it has to be said, I guess.
Yeah, it's the point. The point is like if you're just constantly telling your kids to be careful. First of all, I think it's a clanging gong. Like, do they even hear anything?
Yeah,
like
no.
They don't know what that even means. They're like, okay. But I think if you tell them instead, like, truthfully, like, I don't think I really try really hard to never say be careful to our kids. Like, hardly ever,
Yeah,
like there's times where I have, but like
we say be smart.
What I'll say is like, instead, I'll say like, hey, Bodhi, your foot is slipping there, or you're going to need to hold on tight with your hand or you're going to fall. I'll tell them what might happen instead of being like, be careful. I'll be like, hey, if you do that, you know, the slide's wet, your butt's going to get wet or whatever. Like,
yeah,
I'll tell them practically like what might happen. And I think that hopefully is helping build awareness in them, you know, by actually like calling it out.
Yeah, we hope. Yeah.
I don't know.
We're just sharing our, like, we're being very vulnerable here. We're just sharing our thoughts on this stuff right now and things we're doing and that.
Okay, you hit the last one.
That have
this big one for you.
Helped. And the reason behind why we're doing them. Yeah, this one has been huge for me and us now. Learn their language. And this one, man, this was one of the biggest, I remember, just biggest consciousness shifts for me is when I realized as like a dad that this level of consciousness that is this kid, I mean, they can't hear 80% of what I'm saying. You know, what is it? Something like 25% of the frontal lobes develop. I'm not going to name stat, but like it's the science is like they literally can't hear most of what or understand most of what you're saying. And so I remember we kind of touched on this on the last podcast, but it was a few months ago. I had this I feel like just this download from the Holy Spirit in this moment. And I was like, wow, because it was during a difficult time with the kids. And I remember being told like, you're not speaking their language. And that just like hit me really hard. And I was like, oh my goodness, it's so true. They can't hear me. And so I started pressing into that and asking, you know, the Holy Spirit questions about it. And I just feel like I got this overwhelming, you know, impression that of how kids talk or how our kids are trying to communicate with me and how I'm trying to communicate to them up over here. But then knowing that like, oh my goodness, they literally, just one example, they literally don't know what time is. So they learn time because time to go, got to do this, got to do that. And so we are programming them with this concept of time, but in their natural state, it doesn't exist. It's just, they just live timelessly. And this is why they're slow to get their clothes on, because what do you mean there's something that we have to go to in 10 minutes? I don't even know what 10 minutes is. And why would that matter if I'm right here? Like that's their language. And so learning how to not the derogatory way would be dumb down your language. I don't think that's right. You're not dumbing. Jesus says to the children belong the kingdom. And I think that's largely pointing to their state of consciousness, of presence, of nowness, of forgiveness, and all of the quality traits that come with nowness and presence. But so like, you know, when I'm yelling at Bodhi to get it because he's slow like me to get something on for school or whatever, we got to go or this or that. I've now just changed my tactics and it's helped. I cannot describe how much.
What's your tactic now?
Well, so like he doesn't have time necessarily. He will learn time, obviously, you know, but he doesn't have that as a toolbox of communication to understand what I'm trying to say. So, you know, going into the room being like, hey, Bodhi, you've got, you know, and this doesn't always work. I'm making this up on the spot right now, but like, daddy needs, you know, we got to get in the car. I've got hot food waiting for you. I can't think of an example right now off the top of my head, but, there's ways to communicate to kids where they're able to hear you, and it's going to be different for every single family and every single parent. But the concept is learn to speak your kids' language because they're not speaking yours. They learn to speak it over time. And I think the more that you can connect with them with their language, they'll look at you with these huge eyes like, oh my goodness, like dad understands what I'm saying. Or like, you can speak my language. It's literally like when you go to a different country, Africa, and you're trying to communicate with these people and there's a language barrier, but then like you can speak their language and they like, oh, you know, he can speak our language. That's what it's like with the kids too. So
yeah, I think one thing that makes you,
I hope that makes sense.
Yeah. And I think one thing that you do well with that, I thought you were going to give this example, but like you're super good with the metaphors, like you're a metaphor king. And so I think one of the ways that you speak their language is by giving examples that pertain to their world and their things and what they do. Like, when you're building a Lego and Rad comes up and breaks your Lego booty, how does that make you feel? Like if you're explaining what it's like to have something of yours get broken that you didn't take care of, or that you try to take care of it and someone comes along and breaks it. Like if the kid breaks
it's just
you give an example, and you're really good at doing that. And I think that really helps. Like the more you can give your kids examples that are like, where it puts them in their world. It keeps them in their world. And they're like, if you could give an example, hey, when we're going here to do this and you always want to, I don't know, whatever. You know what I mean? Like, just being able to give examples of like based on their own likes and interests and the things that they do, I think really helps them connect to like whatever you're trying to teach them or communicate with them about. So.
Yeah.
Okay, the last thing that like we'd just be remiss to not say is, and it's not really like a parenting philosophy necessarily, so it's not one of the main points, but it is just like at the end of the day, like we want our kids to know that we love them and feel loved by us. Like all of the other things like don't matter as much as that. That's like the main thing. We want them to know God's love, and that will be best modeled through us and how we love them, but also best modeled through us and how we love each other. Like, what's the scripture? They will know me by how you love one another, right?
Yeah.
And so I think the best example of loving one another is obviously marriage, because you have that example of unity, which is the kind of unity that we're supposed to have with Christ. And so I think just really the best gift that I hope to give our kids is a healthy marriage. The best gift I hope to give our kids is like that they see love as an example in us, that they feel safety as an example in us, that they feel a sense of adventure, that all of that, none of this matters if it's not coming from a healthy us, Yeah. And so I think at the end of the day, investing in your marriage is one of the best things, the best parenting advice, best things that you can give your kids.
Do the marriage journal. Like just do the marriage journal.
Yeah.
To start, if you just need to notch up in that area, but your kids will figure you out. They'll figure us out. That's just something I don't think we think about often enough. Like you can't hide. At some point, your kid's going to know exactly what's going on, and it'll be sooner than you think. And so you don't really have too much time to like get your ish figured out. And also like when we show physical affection towards each other in front of the kids, which to be honest isn't that often, but they'll like, chaos, Legos, this and that, yelling. They'll just stop and stare. Like the whole house will go silent.
Yeah.
And we're like hugging next to the fire or something.
Yeah.
And it just goes to show it just draws the attention because it's a reflection of something, and they're drawn to truth, and and it's just this amazing moment. But so that's,
we always talk about how we can be better at that too. Like
totally.
How we can just be more. It's so hard.
Everyone can. You get caught up in the chaos of it. Like this episode, I hope it doesn't make us sound like we're literally distilling. Kind of just everything packed in an episode. But like this is messy and it changes. This list will be different next week than it is this week. We're trying to deliver some value, right? Like I love listening to podcasts where I'm like, that's good. I'm gonna take that, or that I don't like that. I'm gonna leave that or whatever. And so that's what we're trying to do. But it's a big organic beautiful mess.
Yeah, it's good. Okay, well, we appreciate you guys. Thank you guys so much for listening. If you again leave or share this episode to your Instagram stories and tag Beating 50% and Jeremy Roloff, we're gonna pick 5 of you to give some coffee to this week. But we appreciate you guys. Thank you so much for listening. These are the days. I hope this gives you a little bit of encouragement in your week with your kids.
Be here, be now. Bye.